Miss Hannah here, and I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to make an infographic. Firstly, we open up Photoshop, which I've got here, and we need to get our workspace the way we want it. So I like to use the photography workspace. So if you go to Window, Workspace, you've got a choice of all these workspaces. Again, my favourite is photography because it's the most simplest. And I like to add to that history. So I've already clicked it, history. It's not usually in your photography workspace. So add that, and that means that if you make a mistake, you can delete it in your history palette. Okay, so next step, we're going to open up a new file. So we're going to create a long and narrow infographic style document. So we go File, New, and I'm going to call it Hannah. So use your first name underscore infographic. I'm going to set the size to 600 pixels. That's important, it has to be pixels by 2400 pixels. And I'm going to set the resolution, that's how many pixels are in each inch, to 300. And the reason for that high number of pixels is because we're going to print them out quite large, and when you're printing something you need at least 300 pixels per inch, otherwise it looks quite pixelated. So we click OK. Now you notice that I've got a nice grid there so I can line things up. How did I get that? Well, I simply went to View, went to View, Show, Grid. So tick that and it will give you a grid. And the grid is really handy because it gives you something to line things up on. The next step is I'm going to colour my background. Now, down this side of the workspace are all my tools. If I click on that here, I get a foreground colour picker. I'm going to pick a colour, pale blue, click OK, and to get that pale blue colour onto that background, I simply go over here where those dots are. Now this is the latest version of Photoshop and it seems to have the bucket in this area here. So you'll notice that there's all these tools hidden behind those dots. I'm going to pick Paint Bucket tool and then I'm going to use it to fill the background. The next thing I'm going to do is add the text, and I'm going to simply title it Steps of Cleaning Up. So over here along my menu bar is my text tool, and when I click on it, watch what happens up here in my menu bar. So I click and it changes. If I click there, it changes again. So whenever I click a particular tool, it changes all the options up the top. So go back to text tool and you'll notice that it gives me all these fonts. It gives me the style of the font, whether it's bold or italic, etc. It gives me the font size. Gives me whether you want it sharp, none, crisp, strong or smooth. It gives me how you want your text aligned. Do you want it left aligned, center aligned or right aligned? And over here is your color. What color do you want the text? You need to change it from your background obviously, otherwise you won't be able to see it. So I am going to pick Arial Bold. It's already clicked bold style for me. I think I will go for size 18 points for my font size. You might need to experiment with that. I will stick to center aligned and I'm going to click on black. So I'll click in this very corner to get black for my colour. Now that's quite a small area for me to work on. I like to have it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to click Command or Control plus Okay, I've got a bit too big there, so I'm just going to click Command or Control minus. Okay, I want to drag my image around a little bit. I press the space bar, it gives me a hand, and I can move it down a bit. Okay, let's get back to the text tool. Going to click somewhere and I'm going to start typing steps of cleaning up. Okay, I think I'll put that down there by pressing enter. I get my move tool over here and I'm going to move that. Notice that I'm working on this layer here. Okay, so make sure you're clicked on the right layer and then you can move it. Okay, I've accidentally put an unnecessary capital there, but it doesn't matter. The next thing I'm going to do is bring my image in. So I go to File, Open, click and find your image. Here's one here. Just use that. Open. Okay, now where's my infographic gone? Well, it's over here. So these are all my documents. If I want to drag something onto it, what I need to do is go to Window and arrange your workspace so that you can see two up, one on above the other. You can see this format here. I've only got 2 images, so I'm going to pick 2 up. If I had more, it'd give me more options. If I had 4 images on my workspace, it would actually allow me to do 4 up or 6 up, but 2 up is fine. And now I can use my move tool to simply drag that image onto this image. Now I'm going to just want to work on that. So just drag it up a bit and click my plus sign. Okay. I can move that there. Now, I'm just going to use the grid to line it up. Obviously, I haven't, okay. I've got room for all my other steps. And I think I might add a number. I might actually put the number on top just for the sake of it. So I go back to my text tool and I'm going to type in number 1 here. I might make that bigger, so highlight it. And let's just make it really big. 1. Click them and then just move it. Okay, there. Now you can see, if you look over here, there's my layers. There's my background layer. There's my text layer that says steps of cleaning up. There's my image, and there's my other text layer with number 1. So if I need to move anything around, I simply click on the layer and then I can move that. Okay, I want to put that back where I had it. Instead of using Control Z, which doesn't really work very well on Photoshop, I'm just going to go to my history palette and go backwards. And there we go, there's number 1. And I think I might change that colour. So let's highlight it, make sure you're on the right layer, go back to your text tool and highlight it and come up here and let's change it to red. Okay, and there you go, there's number 1. So there's your steps of cleaning up. So obviously I'm going to add 5 more other steps, but that's pretty much how you create an infograph on Photoshop. Hopefully yours will look a lot better than mine. Next thing we're going to do is save it. So we're going to save it because we haven't finished it as a Photoshop file to start off with. So we go File, Save As, and we click Photoshop up here. And that means I can come back to it tomorrow and I can finish it off. Make sure you know where you're saving it, preferably in a folder called DT. I'm just going to save it on my desktop for now. Save. Click OK. And if this was actually finished, I would save it as a JPEG. So go to File, Save As, and I would click here onto JPEG, which is a photographic file, and you can print those off very easily, and they're easy to open up on any computer. That's why we use it generally. And we save that, and we save it as a large file, so 12 for the quality. Click OK, and that's it. So we've saved it twice, and if I go to my desktop, you can see both versions. There's the JPEG and there's the Photoshop file. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So good luck with your infographic, and see you soon. Bye.